Yo, what's going on, guys and gals? This is Victor with the Stereo Untypical. Falcon and the Winter Soldier drops this Friday, March 19th, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and expectations for the series. Normally, I do this type of thing with friends, and then we follow up with a watch party, but I figured, what if I just talk to myself, like an absolute lunatic instead? Yeah, so help me out with this one. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're excited, what your thoughts are about all the Disney Plus series, specifically Falcon and the Winter Soldier if you want. I also plan on doing an episode review for the series, but I thought it might be fun to do a quick and dirty before the show drops. So first, we need to talk about the villain. A story is only as good as its villain. Villain fuels conflict. Conflict is story. Whoever it is will have a major role to fill. They'll be driving the story. They'll also be setting the tone for the next few movies. Now, Zemo has been highlighted in some of the promo trailers, and I'm not sure what to think about this just yet. I'm not quite convinced that he's the big antagonist for the series just yet. Marvel has hurt my feelings before, and I'm still not over the Mandarin reveal. That was not okay. But I do think Zemo is a good place to start fixing characters like that. We know who he is, and it would be really cool to see him evolve. Maybe see him in some of the action or leading a group of misguided misfits. Honestly, if the villain isn't Zemo, then I expect whoever it is to be a type of spiritual successor to Zemo, someone who's skilled, motivated, and desperate, that has a clear and defined vulnerability, but they still have to pose a great threat to the world around them. Speaking of world building, another thing to keep in mind, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first series that dropped after Avengers Endgame. Typically, we would expect the next installation to up the ante, and I think that would be hard after a big film like Endgame. So I think what we'll see is Marvel will further contextualize the world we already know. They already did this a little bit in WandaVision, although the big point of WandaVision seems to be working through Wanda's trauma and telling us that Wanda can reproduce asexually, apparently. Maybe it's just me, but I need to hear the science on that. And its magic is not good enough of an explanation for me. Anyway, what I was trying to say is WandaVision gave us a little insight into the world, showing us that it's become more concerned with extraterrestrial threats, and it's more terrified of enhanced beings on Earth, which is a major theme in the X-Men. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is supposed to be a more global story, and the snap was a universal shared event that lasted 5 years. We need to see consequences. What's left of the Avengers needs to feel those consequences. And I think it would be interesting to see more desperation shared by the people of Earth that manifests itself in a more volatile global climate. Elephant in the room time. With a name like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I need to see some Falcon backstory. Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson has been in the MCU since Winter Soldier, and honestly, we don't know that much about him or his motivation. We know that he's ex-military, we know that he flew pararescue for the 58th, and that he has great music recommendations. And whether you like it or not, he's an Avenger. When I went back to rewatch his early scenes in The Winter Soldier, the Russo brothers did a really great job showing us that Sam Wilson is a good man. He's humble, he's loyal, and he's just a good friend. All of that is a good base for showing us that this guy is just a good dude. But I think that it's time that he becomes more than that. I think that it's time that he becomes a good character. And I believe a good character requires a little more internal conflict. I would also love to see why he is so good with that wingsuit. That suit is not normal. Nothing about it is. His reaction time has to be off the charts, and the fact that he doesn't pass out every time he suits up is questionable. I mean, he's just a master of his craft, I guess, and I think that's overlooked. Okay, so here we are. This is the elephant. Cap gave Sam the shield. and some people ain't happy about it. With this said, Sam has to decide what inheriting the shield means to him. Does he take on the mantle of Captain America like he did in some of the recent comics? The short answer is no. I don't think he will. I'd be surprised if Marvel went that route, and that's no disrespect. Chris Evans, Steve Rogers is cemented as Captain America, and it's too soon to pass the title to anyone else. I mean, Cap's not dead, right? Anywho, I can see the responsibility of the mantle being shared by Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Comic versions of the characters have both carried the shield at one point, and it's wrong not to acknowledge that. All things considered, I'm completely okay with Sam and Bucky having joint custody. They're hilarious together, especially when they're not getting along.
Can you move your seat up? No.
And frankly, I think he carries the right optics for the time we live in now. Sam and Bucky are both patriots. They have the same mission. And if they're going to succeed, they need to acknowledge each other's strengths as valuable and necessary. It makes sense, it's needed, and I'm sure Marvel knows that. Speaking of our good friend Buck, he's finally got himself a new haircut for the ladies. He's got a new metal arm, courtesy of T'Challa, and it seems like he's feeling a lot better. Minus one small Falcon problem.
Hello girl, kick your ass.
Now, I've heard many people say there's not much for him to do in this new world, but I couldn't disagree more. This man has decades of assassinations and guilt hanging above him. I think reconciliation is going to be a big part of his story going forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if he set out with his new best friend to right some old wrongs. That would give us some space to see what kind of therapy he's received before he was snapped, and maybe even some time for a solo mission or two. I think the future's bright for these two characters. Overall, I'm super excited about this show. There's a bunch more that I could say, but I think I'm going to hold my tongue for now. Okay, I'm sorry. There are rumors about potential X-Men character cameos and old Captain America references, but we'll have to see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for hanging around to the end if you made it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been Victor with The Stereo Untypical. Live forever forward. Peace.